It's a Festivus time for Fnatic fans. Oh, yes. Great alliteration there. It is December 23rd, 2016. If you missed this game, shame on you for the next 72 hours. Welcome to this edition of Pucknology After Dark, following a crazy, wild 3-2 Sharks victory over, wow, this looked really bad, over the Edmonton Oilers. That's better. All right. Joined by my good pals Chris JWS and Eric Landy. They'll be checking in and chiming about this game in just a moment. But first, we are presented by Audible, an Amazon company. They partner with us to give you a free 30-day trial where you can search up to 180,000 audiobooks, and you can even keep one whether you continue to use the service or not. Log on to audibletrial.com/PAD to sign up. You get a free book. You'll support the show. And unlike the Edmonton Oilers, everybody wins. That's audibletrial.com/PAD. All right. That being said, Mr. Chris JWS, how are you, good sir?
I'm great. I mean, that was a hell of a game and a hell of an ending.
No kidding. And of course, the guy who spells his name the right way. Wait, what? What? Am I seeing this right? What? And he must
Yes.
have relatives coming over or something. Eric
No.
Landy.
No. In the immortal words of Matthew McConaughey, all right, all right, all right.
All right. You
Just doesn't
can.
feel like the holiday season without laundry. I mean, it doesn't feel like any season really without laundry, but
I know. I mean, we gotta look sharp as cheddar. It's like Landy without a holiday sweater.
we will definitely touch on the holiday video at some point here.
Yes,
For
we
sure.
definitely will. But nonetheless, if you want to join the conversation, do so by using the hashtag PucknologyAD on Twitter. You can also use the YouTube chat option, either on the page itself or on the app. Good evening to our good chatters in there. You can also follow us on Twitter. Tonight you have at PuckGuy14, at ChrisJWS, and at Eric Landy. Eric spelled with a K.
And you
The
can
right
really
way.
tweet anything at us. I mean, you can tell us we're terrible. Like I'll take it.
Absolutely.
What? No, they can't. They're not allowed to do that.
Hey, now we're in Trump's America now. Anything
Yeah.
goes.
Yeah. No. We're in Trump's America. That you're supposed to be repressed. Remember?
Moving on.
Let's not get to yeah. Moving on.
To prevent from turning into MSNBC or Fox News, let's talk about hockey, because hockey must be always. Sharks win tonight 3-2, and probably one of the more entertaining games we've seen tonight, or not tonight, against the Sharks this season. Chris, what did your initial reaction to this stellar game tonight?
I mean, yeah, like entertaining is really the best way of putting it, because I know we've had chats about some of these other games where like they've been pretty close. They've only been a few goal games. The chase for 5 is still on, by the way. But even for a game that was 3-2, this was end-to-end action all night. Great saves, a lot of great defensive plays, a lot of great offensive plays, great passes, and then I'm glad it ended the way it did. I was like, please don't let this game end in a shootout. They're too good of a game to end in a shootout, and wow. I mean, it looked like in the overtime they were playing a little keep away for a while there, kind of skating it around. But then Couture makes that pass. LeBanc looks like he's going to go to his backhand, then just like, whoop, right in the top corner. Done. Game over. Thanks for coming.
Landy, what did you take tonight? According to Uncle Darren Stevens at Shark Stats, Sharks defeat Oilers in overtime in San Jose for the third time. The last time was in December 11th of 2001.
I mean, look. If you've been following Pucknology, you know that Ian and Landy have been on Kevin LeBanc as a premier prospect in the Sharks pool for a long time. I mean, at least the last year and a half, we've been saying that this kid has got some serious skills. You know what? he just proved it there. I mean, he undressed Connor McDavid and he made him look stupid. And Kevin LeBanc is not a highly touted prospect outside of our little corner preaching about him, and he made Connor McDavid look silly. So you know what? All the kudos to that kid. He's shaping up to be a great pickup where we got him in the draft. And you know what? The kid's looking like a little Pavelski every day.
A few goals from Kevin LeBanc. He deposited 2 pucks into the vault of nets that is at the SAP Center. Early on, it seemed like it was another tight game, but then again, there were so many odd man rushes, and Rocket chiming in our little chatter tonight before the game mentioned this. The Sharks had so many odd man chances, including a couple of, not even a couple, a number of 2-on-1s.
Yeah, I mean the odd man rushes. That little span in the third period was just kind of crazy. They had been playing really rock solid defense all the way up till maybe about, what are we talking about, the 10-minute mark of the third period, and then everything just kind of opened up. The floodgates opened. You got goal here, goal there, goal here, and you know what I mean. It was exciting hockey the whole way through. It had a little bit of everything. You had a little bit of fighting. You had that defensive game, but you also had that offensive outburst. You had great goaltending. If you're gonna show a friend a hockey game, this might be the best example of the sport and what it has to offer. It was just that amazing to watch.
Definitely, it was end to end action all night long, and yeah, the hotness. I mean, with the fighting and all. Yeah, what was up Cassian's ass tonight? I couldn't figure out what was he just trying to be an agitator, or I am not sure what was going on there.
Yeah, it seemed like he was being more of an agitator than anything. In fact, talking to my friend Rhonda, who's a huge Coyotes fan, the Oilers played the Coyotes the other night. Cassian was being an idiot for their game too. So I think they're trying to mold him into as an agitator Steve Ott role. Personally, if you can't try and take sucker punches at Brendan Dillon and doing stupid cross-checking stuff, and then you don't want to go, you have to have somebody else come and save yourself, in Hendricks to drop the gloves. Shows how much of a tough guy you really are. Of course, then he takes on the smaller Michael Haley, but Haley lights him up. So
yeah, he gets his ass whooped by Haley.
Dillon held his own in that fight too.
Oh, sure he did. But the thing is that if you're going to show up, and I'm looking at Brendan Dillon right now, he's got welts on his left cheek, and he's going to have his eyes already turning black. But I mean, to not go after, have somebody else do the job. I mean, give me a break. I mean, you don't show up when you're trying to be an idiot, but you'll show up for taking down the little guy. Yeah, okay.
So, something pointed out in the chat, and not saying this in a flippant way, but sounds like he also has some demons as far as like drinking and abuse problems.
Yeah, he did have those, and in fact, I think when he was with Montreal at the time, he got into an automobile accident, and they sent him to rehab. So hopefully, he's got a lot of those demons against him.
Yeah. Chester Chivo in the chat saying Cassian with a C better than Cassian with a K. Where are my Star Wars fans at? I'm like, I prefer Cardassians, honestly. Where are my Star Trek fans at?
As long as we don't talk about Kardashians, then
yeah,
all right, Gold. All right, Gold Ducat. So look, I mean, it's just. I wish that this. First off, I think let's talk about the refereeing. I think that they let Edmonton go with a lot of obstruction penalties. I think Edmonton could have been tacked on even harder, or they could have just called less penalties overall. But you know what? It's the league kind of catering to Connor McDavid, and you're seeing it. And he's now the golden child. I mean, he's kind of taken that Sidney Crosby-esque role, and it's hella annoying. And the other thing is, I mean, look at the record of French Canadian refs with the Sharks. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, but McJesus was pretty phenomenal to watch. I mean, every time he's on the ice, you knew he was there because you could see him. He was making plays. But you're right. I mean, they even said during the broadcast that the Oilers are constantly complaining to the league about not enough obstruction penalties, and meanwhile the Oilers get away with their fair share against the Sharks. I remember there's at least a couple of penalties where it's like, well, literally 30 seconds before they had either hooked a shark or grabbed a shark. It's like, what? But I mean, honestly, I can't say I think they let the Sharks get away with a few too, so I don't really that big of a problem with the officiating. Shall we beat on the power play drum, because I know that's AJ's drum.
Oh well, I just want to bring up one more point. I think that Zach Cassian should have been ejected with that last punch on Dylan where he hits the linesman. That should have been warranted for an ejection, a game misconduct, and just throw his ass out. And you know what? We've been talking about it all season. We've got a fresh crop of officiating coming in, and you know what? They've got to get a wrangle on this. I mean, that game could have really devolved, had Zach been on the ice, but luckily Tom McClellan had some sense not to put him back out there, but he would have got his ass lit up.
But
I think he had no ice time in the third. But yeah, I didn't understand how he was able to hit an official, even if inadvertently. I mean, there's some sports like the NFL and all that, or the basketball. If you touch the official, you could get ejected for that. Just if you go up to them and just kind of like, or prodding them or whatever, you could get your ass tossed for that.
Yeah, basketball, I believe, is an automatic ejection.
Forget about accidentally clipping them with a punch, even if it's completely unintentional. Basketball, you do that, your ass is out of there, and you're probably suspended for 5 games.
A couple of things here. Number one, don't forget Demers actually inadvertently nailed a linesman during a fight.
True.
And I don't think he got anything out of it. I think he might have gotten a little bit of a fine, but nothing else besides it. But also, if you touch an official, you're supposed to be gone. But
that is a very good point about Demers, though, because I know we got a lot of good yucks out of that years ago, and it was funny. It was really funny.
I think Chris saying in the chat didn't get anything. It happens. It's not intentional, but like you guys said. You can all of a sudden see how it's amazing how well the Oilers have gotten, and at the same time how many calls they get now that McDavid's and their team is doing so well. It's just absolutely unreal. And if that's how the league is going to be run, I feel for teams that are consistently not getting off the off to tank to get their crap together. To if they be nice for like Arizona to get Connor McDavid or something, or Winnipeg. Where's Winnipeg with their calls for Patrick Laine? He's such a mega star.
Yep.
And I think Patrick Laine, I mean, he's creating all of his own stuff right now. I mean, that kid, I really feel for him. I mean, they're really keying in on him, but he's still producing. So, you know what? Good on him. He doesn't get the benefit of the calls that McDavid gets, and he's still putting up the points. So you know what? I have mad respect for him. But let's go into that special teams power play drum beating. I mean, that 4-minute power play was atrocious. I mean, that was the worst span of a 4-minute power play I think I've seen this team put together. I mean,
I don't know about that. They've done worse than that.
I don't know. They did not even enter in the zone cleanly once within the first minute and 30 seconds. I mean, they just could not pull their heads out of their asses. And luckily it didn't bite them in the ass tonight, but you could definitely see that top unit is just stale. Their decision making is.
You mean the top unit that scored the first one?
You know what? They scored that first one, but they scored it off the rush. It wasn't a setup power play, right? And they had a very clean entry, and they executed well. But that 4-minute power play was god awful. And when you have 4 minutes on the power play, you need to bank at least one of them. At least one of them.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think I think power play tonight had some good and some bad. Like you said, the 4 minutes definitely were not the best. I think they have had worse power plays than that, but that's because they've had some pretty atrocious ones this season. But so Edmonton was also, I was surprised for a Todd McClellan team. Edmonton was coming after the puck carrier, even on the perimeter, which, if we all remember Todd McClellan's PK, it was usually pretty passive, sit in the box and don't mess with the guys on the perimeter. They were coming after on the perimeter. At times, the top unit looked really sharp. At other times, they were kind of just way out of whack. So I don't know. I felt like it was a mixed bag. They went 1 for 4 ultimately tonight, which that's good enough most nights. They still have a lot of ground to make up for early in the season, but overall, I'm not that upset with how they were on the penalty or on the power play. It's more the PK I thought was very good. They went 6 for 6, killing the penalties, which I think was actually really good. A lot of dangerous opportunities by the Oilers there.
Yeah, Edmonton's been, I think, the top power play unit on the road this season.
No, I think that the penalty kill has really come around in the last 2 or 3 games. You know, especially since Carlson's kind of gotten back into the frame and really found his stride again. That PK is clicking at a good rate, and they held their own. You know what? And if as long as you beat out the power play to PK ratio, meaning that the Sharks get 1 for 4 on their power play chances, and Edmonton goes 0 for 6. I mean, you can live with that. You can live with a subpar power play as long as that PK is clicking and humming along. So, you know what? I mean, Chris Tierney doing an excellent job tonight. Bodker, you could really see him on the PK doing an excellent job. And Carlson, I mean, those three have really made that PK really short up. You know, it's really short up.
Kind of getting back.
And Edmonton, real quick. Edmonton is also number 5 right now in the league on the power play. So that wasn't a bad unit. They just shut down for the night. So I'd say that's definitely a big stick tap to the guys on the PK tonight.
Yeah, no, definitely. Hey, when you can shut down, I mean, they're explosive. Let's be real here. Draisaitl's come out of no. Well, I don't want to say come out of nowhere, but he's continued a stronger second year with the Oilers. We all know about McDavid. You know, Letestu's looked promising. Heck, even Sekera. I keep saying Sekarash for some reason. But in Letestu, I mean, those units up there for the power play has been pretty outstanding for them. So to shut him down is a nice feature.
No, definitely. The team has really responded. I think, what was it? They kind of tanked a little bit. They were second or third in PK percentage, and then it kind of just tanked. And it seems like they've righted the ship quite a bit. You know what? The team has got to have a great PK if this power play is going to be humming along at 18% or 17%, whatever it is at now. Because I mean, it looks like this team has really bought into the defense first mentality. Rocket kind of chiming in on the chat, kind of tongue in cheek, but yeah, the goal for the search for 5 goals is still on. I mean, this team is still, is still winning those 3-2 games, 2-1 games. Really, I mean, I think now, quarter pole into it, probably more of like a third of the way into it.
Yeah, almost halfway actually.
We're a little over a third now.
This team, I think we've got to really look at not being a super powerhouse offense anymore. I think this is a defensive first team, and I think that's the way it's going to roll.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, the good thing is they seem to have an identity. Like this time last year, I think that was the big question we were asking over and over again. What the hell is this team's identity? It seems like their identity is they are a defense first team that can be lethal on the power play at times, that they are capable. They have offensive talent. They can hold the puck. They can possess the puck well. But Jones' phenomenal goaltending, and they break up a lot of chances on the rush and have good zone coverage and good good penalty kill. And it's an improvement over this time last year, really, because some people are like, well, last year this, last year that. Like, honestly, if you compared the two just at this time, I think this team is pretty well ahead of last year's.
Oh, definitely, definitely, and you figure they're playing playoff style hockey now. This team is built to go deep into the playoffs. Somebody was saying it was uncanny. They have uncanny stats next to the 2014 Kings and just the way that they've played, just in as far as goals for, goals against. That possession number is just crazy. This is a team that traditionally has been fairly good in the possession game, but this year they're, I think, what, second in Corsi for. It's just a different style that we're seeing from them. This style of hockey has always come out on top in the playoffs. So you know what? They're perfecting it right now in the regular season.
Yep, and it should be noted tonight they handled a fast team, and this isn't quite Pittsburgh and their viciously fast in zone defense, but this is a fast team, and they handled them pretty well in the rush. I mean, there were odd man rushes. That's going to happen, but they also went both ways. It wasn't just a one-way thing, but they broke up plays well. They kept their own in-zone coverage pretty well. Jones was strong, and I think that's one of the things I always kind of look for is how they handle the fast teams, because those are the teams that seem to give them the most trouble historically, and it undid them in the playoffs this year.
You know what? And let's talk quickly on Jones. That's a good segue. I thought he played very well tonight, except for the goal that tied it up at 2-2. That one that went underneath. It was stick side, kind of in between the shoulder or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I think he overcommitted to one side just a little bit too much, and it was a softie. It was a little bit of a softie in my opinion. So you really want your goaltender to try and save that one, or especially right when you get the lead, because you know that the other team's going to be coming back for a push, and you really hope that he comes and saves it. And Jones has been saving their bacon quite a bit. It was good to see the team kind of get that win for him and pick him up after that kind of crappy goal.
Yep. And not to beat the dead horse, but I mean, we don't need to beat it for more than about 15 seconds here. When's Dell going to show up? Like, please, guys, can we have him have a mysterious scratch? And with that, let's. I know it's already in the chat there, and people on Twitter have even asked, what is with the case of the mysterious scratches? What is going on with Schlemko? I mean, we were talking about this in our chat earlier today. Is it not? Does it have to be a nagging injury? Because it just I'm looking back. I've watched and looked at stats and trying to figure out if there's some reason why he should be sitting. I can't find it.
So I was reading a little bit on today's Kevin Kerr's article on the mysterious scratches, but I thought it was very interesting that DeBoer skirted the question of whether it was a disciplinary thing. He kind of said, it was a roster decision. It was my decision. When they asked him, was it behavior related? He goes, I'm trying to put the best team out there on a nightly basis. So that tells me that either Schlemko missed a practice or has said something to somebody or has ruffled some kind of feathers. I think it's behavior related.
I mean, that's about the only thing I would think that maybe it is. And okay, and Kurz is like, don't freak out about this. Like, I'm not freaking out. It's questions. Like, it seems odd, and it's something worth asking about. But and luckily, something we've seen, and I was talking to Zach about this the other day. This Sharks team is just phenomenally deep right now.
Okay, and let's
on defense and forward.
And let's really, I mean, like Vince G brings it up in the chat too. Let's just get this out there. DeMello is a commodity for the amount of money that he makes, for how old he is, and being a right-handed shooting defenseman. The Sharks are not going to trade him. All right, they need a seventh defenseman. He fulfills that role and more. He could be a regular. And unless you're getting blown away in a trade for a young right-handed shooting defenseman, they're not trading him. I mean, defensemen do not grow on trees. They're diamonds in the rough, so to speak, because there's a lot of rough out there.
So Sorry, go ahead.
And so I don't buy it. I don't buy that this is a showcase.
Yeah, 2 points in the chat from Chris Edwards here and Kevin Lacey pointing out that, well, a lot of people are clamoring for DeMello to get some time, which I think I tend to agree. I think we might have expected maybe see a one Dillon game out, a one Schlemko game out, or something like that, but that's neither here nor there. And the other point Chris Edwards brings up is PDB's history of Schlemko got him in Teal, so it seems like they have a rapport. They have some time going back. So if it's behavioral related, like Shumko must have really done something to make him angry. But I mean, and again, maybe we are just over analyzing the living hell out of this. And maybe he has a nagging injury, or maybe just they said, we want to play DeMello. We're going to let you sit for a few games.
I mean, just kind of going through it, you look at what you got in the defensive prospect pool right now. You don't want to bring up Mueller. I mean, you want to try and get him as much time in the AHL as you can get him. I think the other guy you kind of look at, you either look at McNally, who a lot of the guys in the Barracuda have said is probably the best defensive prospect we've got. I don't know about that, but whatever. So, or Joachim Ryan, I think is the other guy that's kind of also been pegged. So I mean, honestly, I just don't see the Sharks trading a defensive prospect.
Sounds like the Maple Masher wants to crash the ring here. Eric, are you sending him the link?
Yes, I am.
Sounds like doing like or some theme music here for the Maple Masher as he comes in.
Oh, Canada!
I imagine it'd be like a hard rock "Oh Canada," like on the electric guitar or something like that.
Oh, you know what? We should play some Rush just to fuck with him.
He comes into like a Rush style "Oh Canada" as he like crash. He's like he bangs you over the head with like a chair, or I don't know. Actually, no, you crash you over the head with a bottle of maple syrup. Yeah. So Ian wants to get in here and have his say here. So, brother,
Kevin, I just want to quickly address what Kevin Lacey's saying in the chat. We're talking about McNally because he was brought up by the broadcasters, and I believe it was the play-by-play guy for the Barracuda was saying that he's the most improved, and he seems to have caught the coach's eyes. That's why I'm bringing up McNally. Not because he is a better defensive prospect, but because he has caught the eye of the coaches. So that's why I bring him up.
My thing is when Hurdle returns, you're going to have to make some type of fairly decent roster moves.
Saying, "Oh Canada,
our home and native land."
Yeah, so smash the chair on Landy's head here, Ian.
Okay, so here's the thing with the Sharks.
By the
right?
way, good evening, Mr. Reed.
Thank you. Good evening to you guys.
In this corner, the Maple Masher.
It's already Christmas Eve here, so Merry Christmas.
Oh, you guys celebrate that up there?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
You don't have your own special Canadian holiday? You couldn't get your own?
Well, they do.
No, we couldn't.
We're going to build a wall and we're taking Christmas with us.
I didn't know Jesus made it up there.
You didn't.
Oh, my God, Landy.
Let's not go there.
All right.
Moving on.
Look at here's the thing that I think everyone needs to consider. The Sharks are very, very tight against the cap. And yes, on the outside, just moving DeMello alone doesn't make a lot of sense. But what if you wanted to move some contract? Chances are you have to give somebody up to go with it to sweeten the pot. Nobody's just taking Tommy Wingles out of the kindness of their heart. No one's going to take a Joel Ward out of the kindness of their heart. No one's going to take a Mikhail Bodker out of the kindness of their heart. You need someone to sweeten the pot. What if that's DeMello? Right-hand shots are a premium in this league. He's NHL ready. You're not losing DeMello in the expansion draft. So this idea that you keep DeMello just in case someone takes him in the expansion draft, you're not losing him. Someone's going to take Schlemko or Dillon in the expansion draft. Let's be honest. So DeMello's just an asset that is there, but you also have a guy next year who could come up like Tim Heed, who could play real NHL minutes next year, and then and not sit in the press box. So you're going to lose a defenseman in the expansion draft. You have a couple of defensemen in the Barracuda already, like Joachim Ryan or Tim Heed, that probably could play bottom line minutes next year. moving DeMello makes perfect sense if you need to move some cap, because you have to do something when Hurdle comes back.
Well, right, and I think that's the thing is there's going to be some kind of move, whether it be moving out a larger contract or whatever. I mean, we've said this about Doug Wilson. He has this magic ability to find somebody who's got an injury to put them on IR. I mean, he's always been able to do that. We've always wondered, well, why is this person on IR for so long? You know what? I don't see him shipping off a right-handed defenseman. I mean, he's always coveting that player. I just don't see it. I'd be more apt to see him ship a Barclay Goodrow plus somebody for something.
But Barclay Goodrow might not have might again. You got to move something that people want in order to dump contract.
Go ahead, Chris. I know you wanted to chime in.
Yeah, no, I was just saying. I think what Ian's trying to say is we need to give up something of value, like Barclay Goodrow. Honestly, in this league, he's a dime a dozen. And I think like DeMello is valuable, and that's why we'd probably, if we wanted to dump, say, Joel Ward's contract, we're going to have to do something that might hurt a little bit. And I think that's really what the point is.
Right. The only thing you would hope for is if they did move DeMello, they don't pull someone up from the Barracuda like a Joachim Ryan or a Tim Heath to just sit in the press box. That would be the worst.
Right. And I think that DeMello has proven time and time again that he can be that seventh defenseman. He went in tonight and he looked stellar. I mean, he did not look, out of place playing against Connor McDavid. I mean, he didn't look out of place playing against a bigger kind of Edmonton team. He looked very good against Calgary. I really feel like, I don't know. I get this strange feeling that it's gonna be something different. I think we're not gonna actually. It's gonna be kind of something out of left field that's gonna happen as far as what the roster move's gonna be.
I'm hoping you're right, honestly. But it's a question of like if Ward starts turning it around, or if he's, the worry is that I think he might have hit that wall, as Zach put it, the 37-year-old wall or something like that, where like players just kind of tend to fall off a cliff. And if we're going to get rid of his contract, it might have to hurt. But you might be right. Maybe Doug Wilson pulls off some really good trade, because he's pulled off he got someone to take frickin' Douglas Murray after he fell off a cliff like a year before that, and he got 2 second-rounders for Douglas Murray. So we think we know about these things, but sometimes we really don't know, and they're able to ship off a player who doesn't have much of anything.
What is the actual cap number we're at, Ian?
When Hurdle comes back, someone's got to go down.
So what's
go down big time.
What's the number that we're at?
Give me a second, I'll bring it up.
We are at $73,615,017. Technically, we are over by $615,000.
Right.
So
that could mean just a couple of guys go down, but let's be real here. Who are you going to send down?
The other thing is you could potentially send down Tommy Wingles. I mean, you get $1 million worth of cap relief or whatever. That definitely frees up some space, and you get the added bonus of him having to go through waivers. I mean, I don't know that somebody
fixing much though. I mean, you're not. Yeah, I don't know.
Hey, space is space. I mean, whether or not you're sending him down, or whether he's shipped off on waivers. I mean, look, I like Tommy Wingles. I think he brings a lot to the leadership core. I mean, I think out of all of the interviews, he's the one that's the most thoughtful, and I thought he was always really good captain material wise. I like the kid. I want him to do well. But right now, I think this is a good segue. The rookies have just forced Peter DeBoer's hand. I mean, you look at LeBanc, you look at Meyer. I mean,
I see, and I don't know if that's. I mean, not to derail you. I don't know if Meyer's been good enough that they would keep him up because he's the easiest thing. You send Timo back down, and you there's no waivers. You don't lose anybody. It seems like unless he's getting value, like it doesn't seem like Doug Wilson just wants to give any of these guys away. I thought Tommy Wingles would have been gone in the summer.
That's what I thought too. I thought Tommy Wingles was going to be shipped out at training camp or right before training camp, and that was going to be the end of it, and that's where the cap space came. But you know what? I mean, he did some Doug Wilson trickery, and he's kept them all. So, do you just kind of keep Timo then in the minors and let him bake away when Hurdle comes back, and then bring him up when the cap?
I don't know
goes
if you have a choice. I don't know if you have a choice. That's my thing. I don't know if you move Tommy Wingles down and just clear up that little itty bit of space. But if you get to injury trouble, you're like if you get someone, especially if it's somebody minor who doesn't make a whole lot of money, then you're in super trouble.
Right, because I mean let's talk about the expendable pieces on this roster. I mean Nieto, but unfortunately Nieto doesn't make enough. Ward. I mean, unfortunately, I like Ward too. I like what he brings in the playoffs. I like his intangibles, but he's clearly not been the same player. Bodker, I mean, let's face it. He's we're 34 games into this, 35 games into this,
yeah.
and he's not living up to that contract. So, I mean, I don't know. You just. I think the kids have outplayed the veterans, and you know what? That's a good problem.
That's a good problem to have, for sure.
I wouldn't completely agree with that. At the same time, keep in mind, when we're talking about the matchups, the veterans versus the kids are drawing. I mean, you look at the way they've set it up. They usually are deploying the kids in more favorable situations, better, lower competition. So I would
not LeBanc though. I mean, LeBanc's on that second line. They draw.
Yeah. LeBanc would be an exception, but I mean, if we're talking about like the Tierney, Timo, Donskoy line, but yeah, it just to temper that a little bit because it's a little bit of an overstatement there.
Yeah, and Chris Edwards brings up a great point. Timo can sit in the AHL as needed, and you know what? He's going to percolate. And as far as shipping down a good forward prospect back to the AHL, that doesn't stunt their growth. It's not like a defenseman where you really just need to leave them be.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that Timo is probably the most logical choice to go back down. However, that being said, his chemistry with Donskoy and with Tierney has been really good.
I mean, Hurdle comes back in, and then that line gets blown up anyway.
Right, exactly. So, because I don't see you moving Patty off Jumbo's and Pavelski's line anytime soon. Kevin LeBanc and Couture, I think, are tied at the hip now. I don't know why Bodker is still up with them. I really think that after Donskoy had that 2-goal game, I would have put him with Couture, and then so you have him, Couture, and LeBanc all on the same line. I think that would be a good try, a good line combo to try, and put Bodker back down on that third line because Bodker, he needs to play against inferior competition. And playing on that second line, he's drawing, they're drawing huge defensive responsibility.
Yeah, I mean, that's the line that really holds the load as far as the defensive going up against the best forwards on the opposing team. Just to be clear what we're talking about here, because we talk about all this in terms of matchups interchangeably, but yeah, what we're talking about is there's actually numbers out there. You can look at quality of competition, who faces what. The second line pretty much always goes out against the best forwards from the other team as often as possible, and often in the most difficult situations like defensive zone face-offs. So,
and it wouldn't be surprising to see what the defensive zone face-off kind of chart is. It's probably going to be Couture and Tierney 1-2. I think that's. I think Peter DeBoer is really comfortable with putting Couture or Tierney out there with a 1-goal lead with like a minute left.
Yeah, I remember. I think I looked it up like probably 10 or 15 games ago, maybe longer. But Couture was starting something like 60% of his non-neutral zone face-offs in the defensive zone, which tells you DeBoer puts him out there in difficult spots, and it's good that you have a guy you can lean on to do that because Thornton could be put in those spots. He's capable, but really let him go, let him in that line go up against the softer competition, try and get them scoring, let Couture in that line take the big defensive responsibility. And that's, it also probably contributes to Couture's face-off numbers not being that great. I think there's other contributors this year, but yeah, that's one thing we have to keep in mind is that he is often facing, he's facing the Anze Kopitars of the world. He's not facing off against guys who are, he's not facing off against fourth liners.
Yeah, and Tierney has really stepped up his game in Hurdle's absence. You're starting to see his offensive game kind of come around too. You know what, that kid needs a lot of commendations because he's really done a good job in Hurdle's absence, and I've really liked what I've seen. And you know what, injuries. The one good thing about injuries is it forces kids to grow up. And we're seeing Kevin LeBanc flourish into a great goal scorer. We're seeing Tierney kind of take the mantle of that second shutdown kind of center, who also chips in some great passes. I mean, he's made some really, really awesome passes.
Chris Edwards pointing out that it also helps Tierney finally has wingers.
Oh yeah,
very, very true. He was given some really bad wingers last year.
And you know what? I mean, even with the bad wingers, he still held his own. So that tells you something.
Yeah, he made his impact last year even with mediocre wingers, but yeah, this year he's got guys who can actually finish. Donskoy, who he's just infectious the way he plays. He's exciting to watch. And I think Timo's been pretty good. Okay, who am I kidding? He hasn't scored since his first game here. Trade him already. I mean, that guy's terrible. Hot take.
I think the nice thing that Timo brings though to whatever line he plays with is that shoot first mentality, and we've seen in the chat here, I mean, a couple of people have said it, the kid does not take a long time to shoot the puck. And this team can really get pass happy. And you stick him on a line that is super pass happy, he's just whipping it to the net. I mean, he had 2 or 3 really good chances tonight just from whipping it to the net.
I mean, ideally on this team, you want at least one guy out there pretty much all the time that likes to shoot it. Burns, we know if he gets at the point, we know what's happening next. He's probably throwing it at the net. But, it's good to have pass-happy guys because that's how you set up plays. If you just shoot all the time, you're probably not going to get much. But, yeah, having guys who are happy to just, okay, I'm going to throw the puck at the net, try to make some chaos happen. I think that's something this team does need for sure.
And Chester chimes in, Timo is the anti-Thornton. Yeah.
What are you talking about? Thornton likes to pass it to the back of the net. Thornton had at least one really wicked shot tonight. I think it might have deflected or something like that, but he took a pretty good shot. When he shoots, he can shoot. Just doesn't do it very often.
Northern Shark, quick question. You're saying LeBanc is an AHL top 6. I don't think so. I think he's a legitimate second liner in the NHL.
No, what he's saying, hi again, by the way, that in the game NHL 17, Meyer is considered an AHL top 6.
LeBanc.
LeBanc, I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, but I think...
Yeah,
but the thing is, though, is LeBanc is so ahead of schedule. You could look at anybody who was high on LeBanc coming into this season.
Us. Excuse me.
You could, Zach Devine's another guy who was super high on LeBanc, but none of us expected this. No one expected this coming into the season that he would be, that he would be in the NHL right now and doing as well as he has. He's way ahead of schedule. It's a good problem to have again.
Oh, totally agree. And he was playing with, let me think about this. In Barrie, who was he playing? He was playing with, I'll get this.
So yeah, while you're thinking, Chester Chivo in the chat, I forgot Pucknology had Puck Guy like the Sharks have Hurdle. Well, see, we have a lot of depth here, Chester. We have organizational depth at Pucknology.
Yes, I'll be traded to Fear the Fin.
We're center heavy here.
7th round pick.
Well, yeah, we're very center heavy
consideration,
especially. Now we have like 3 centers playing tonight. So
yes, that's true.
It's the all center line.
That's right. I think we've kind of covered the game completely. You guys are just rolling like crazy. I was like,
dead horse.
I was like, no, okay.
Sorry,
the Devils just spinning around.
The NHL loves Edmonton shit, and then the idea that DeMello just couldn't be traded, I had to step in.
No, you're good. You're good. But because it's going to be interesting to see what happens in just a second, or down the road.
Yeah.
When you said what's going to happen in just a second, I thought
Like
Something's about to happen, like literally just this second.
You're gonna is AJ gonna come in and hit me in the head with the chair now? Like what's gonna happen?
Tag team.
You're gonna tag. Yeah, he's gonna tag AJ in. AJ's gonna come in. Yeah, he's gonna crash the party here. On a non-hockey related topic, happy birthday to Jessica there in the chat. She's a regular watcher, so yay! And sounds like you got like pretty sweet, got sweet seats, not sweet as in SW, but SUITE sweet. So
can I
awesome
ask Landy a question while I'm here, even though it's not really Sharks related?
Yeah. What's up?
Okay, so what the hell is with Alex DeBrincat going home and not playing at the World Juniors? Explain this to me, Mr. American.
I don't know. I mean, USA Hockey, we do stupid shit. Like fucking hire John Tortorella as the head coach.
Hey, look at those Columbus Blue Jackets this year. Maybe that wasn't so bad.
We'll go around the league in a sec, but go ahead and finish.
No, I just, you know what, USA Hockey, like we gotta shift a little bit of the brain trust here.
It's better than USA Soccer.
That's true.
Are we sure?
Very low. That's a very low.
I'm not
standard.
sure.
No,
bar's not very high.
It is. Trust me.
So I mean, just looking over Kevin LeBank's stats, just before we end on him, because he is a good old American, all-American from Staten Island. He got 127 points on a decent Barrie team, but I mean he was pretty damn good, and this was a follow-up to a 100-point season the year before. Now, we have seen, kids in the OHL score very heavily and not pan out. I mean, that's not unusual, but I mean, the kid knows how to score, and he's playing with Logan. Logan's going to feed him the puck. I think he's going to remember how to hit the back of the net. I think so. I mean, for everybody who's saying, well, he's really, where did he come from, or might be a little ahead of schedule. I don't know.
But the OHL scoring to NHL scoring is a huge draw. I mean, let's be honest, he only has 6 goals, and I mean, it's 21 games and 6 goals is good, but he only has 6 goals. He's not Patrick Laine. He's not, he's not the guys that you expected to come in and make an immediate impact this year. Like, yes, he had a good team. Barrie was a good team. I mean, they got, I can't remember who beat them. Someone beat them. They would have gotten rolled by London anyway, but I mean, it's a huge jump to make, and we've seen lots of prolific scorers in the OHL or the CHL in general that have come up and ended up being third line goons.
Okay, Chris Edwards. I just really quickly want to go over, and then I'll let you go, Eric. Yevlapovs was a 100-point player, yes, but he also played in the Q. Now, if you thought OHL to NHL scoring was skewed, just look at Q scoring to NHL scoring. That's incredibly skewed. Ian, please.
Well, I mean, I agree, but at the same time, I'm just saying, like, we've seen guys get drafted highly tighted, highly high scores in the AHL, or not the AHL, the CHL, OHL, whatever league you want to talk about. Yeah, the Q's a little bit easier to score, and the Q is easily the weakest league in the CHL. I do agree with that, but we've seen prolific scorers still come out of there that were prolific there and prolific.
Reeling it back in, you guys need to have a debate on on the. I'm just
all right.
Playing the name of Ian's lovely show. I just totally blanked out.
Sorry.
On it, but yeah,
Writers Room.
Writers Room. We're getting way off the rails here. Eric, you had something you wanted to go?
Oh, from Uncle Darren Stevens, who is on it tonight. 5 of
on it
6.
Every night, really.
Well, he is, but I mean,
and that's why he's
Uncle
Darren.
That's right. 5 of Kevin LeBank's 6 goals this season have been lead changing, where they've tied the game or gave the Sharks the lead, including both of his goals tonight.
Well, there you go.
I mean, that's something else, but down the road, there's going to be needing to be a call up or a change or a sent down or something once Hurdle gets back. Of course, to answer Chivo's question from a while ago, he's making significant progress, but there's still no timetable to I think which.
What was Chivo's question?
When is Hurdle coming back?
Never.
He's done. He's bust over. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, right now we shouldn't be in any rush to get Hurdle back because the team is doing just fine without him, and that really again speaks to the depth that they.
Yeah, you don't have to rush him. I mean that's the thing. Just let it overheal. And you know what? The kids are coming up. They're playing. I mean, you have more that are nipping at the heels. I mean, you could bring up Goldie. You could bring up.
And it seems like a really good transition here to get to the big picture and the standings. And I assume Eric probably has a graphic by now. As far as the Sharks, Sharks are probably, I believe, are now leading the Pacific. I mean, at least for the moment, probably.
What a
the next 24 hours or so.
Chris. I do have a graphic. I was doing my photograph.
Oh, convenient.
Yes.
On the
Sharks
ball.
are at 43 points with 19.
Rose.
Thank you. They sit just a point ahead of Edmonton with 42 points. Anaheim, the Sharks' next opponent, is at 40. That should be 38 and 38. Both are wild cards for Calgary and Los Angeles.
Sharks also have 2 games in hand over the Oilers, I believe.
Exactly.
And the Duckies too.
Yeah, so they're in really good shape right now, even with the Rose and the games in hand. Let's not forget Vancouver, who was one time used to be in this race, but then again, their general manager still thinks they're a cup contender. Are at 31, and the Desert Dogs, sadly, are at 27. So, Ian, who was the one who said the Desert Dogs were going to make the playoffs this year in the Riders?
Laurel in the chat said, "I yelled Rose. What the hell? Been watching you guys too long." You say Rose
Thank
3
you,
times
Laurel.
into the mirror. Gen X will show up drunk.
Those are actually hockey jerks, Phoenix Coyotes or Arizona Coyotes.
Thank you.
Didn't he also pick Carolina? Or no, that's Drew. Sorry.
That was their dream matchup. Was Carolina Arizona for the Stanley Cup?
Oh, I mean that's the NBC Dream Final right there. Like all the ratings.
Yeah,
No.
all the ratings.
Oh man, I would laugh so hard. That would be just phenomenal.
They'd be like, we're moving it to CNBC following closing bell. Every game will be on at 1 p.m. Pacific time. Nonetheless, with that, let's go around the league. Definitely a lot of games to get to before they hit the Christmas break.
Was literally everyone else playing tonight? I think there might have been every team active.
I think so. So we already know Sharks won 3-2 in overtime, thanks to Kevin LeBank's overtime winner. I watched it a couple of times while you guys are talking about an unbelievable goal. Islanders 5, Buffalo 1. Islanders pull out a win in Brooklyn. What's going on with the Rangers? Is this the second night in a row they gave up 7 goals? They lose to the Minnesota Wild 7-4 at MSG.
Well, those Christmas tree jerseys bring them good luck this time of year.
Of course.
Hey, and Minnesota's on a hell of a roll right now.
Minnesota, I believe, has won 10 in a row now,
Yep.
and I believe Bruce Boudreau's one of 2 coaches that have coached 3 teams to 10-game winning streaks. So kudos to the Wild. They're going crazy right now. Well, actually, they're probably going wild, not crazy.
You had to throw it in.
Bruce Boudreau, not exactly the problem in Anaheim. Let's just put that out there.
You mean that horrible Kessler contract and that Ryan Getzlaf contract isn't biting him in the ass right now? Nah, couldn't be that.
Pittsburgh 4, New Jersey 1. Pittsburgh rebounded after losing to Columbus the other night. In the semi-post Ben Bishop era, the Capitals beat the Lightning 4-0 in our nation's capital. Somebody break up the Blue Jackets. They now lead the NBC division, just to the delight of NBC execs and Doc and Pierre and Edzo. They win their 12th in a row, defeating the Canadians 2-1.
Well, at least it wasn't 10-1.
Yes. Detroit looking very much in danger of having their quarter-century playoff streak coming to an end. They win tonight in a shootout, 4-3 over the Florida Panthers. Reimer was in net for that one. Also, that needed some extra time. Drew Weber's Carolina Hurricanes 3, Boston 2. Boston's kind of been on a slide lately. In
Boston has been good.
Chicago, Corey Crawford comes back but loses to the lowly Colorado Avalanche
Trade him.
2-1 in overtime.
He's horrible. Trade him.
Speaking of horrible goaltending, somehow Dallas won in overtime 3-2 over the Los Angeles Kings, so the Kings picked up a point tonight. In the classic rivalry up in Western Canada, it was Calgary 4, Vancouver 1. Vancouver.
You're really asking me to hit that mute button.
I can't help it.
Just tempting me.
If Hockey Trick was on, he'd be setting me up for it. And finally, I don't know if you guys know, but San Ramon native Austin Matthews, who also resided in Arizona at one time, came to Arizona and had an assist in the Leafs 4-1 win over the Arizona Coyotes.
Don't you mean Desert Dogs?
Desert Dogs, thank you. I'm sorry. There was a couple of really cool tweets out that the Coyotes put out, one of which was I'm trying to find it here. There was a tweet that said, crap, why can't I find it now?
Hashtag production value.
That's it.
Bite me. By the way, Shane Donan, with that one goal that the Coyotes did get, scored his 400th goal tonight. So that's nice. In his 1500th game, mind you. But there was a really cool tweet that the Desert Dogs put out about, hey, if you're in Leafs blue, we totally understand. If you're wearing an Austin Matthews jersey tonight, we get it. We're proud of him too. Which I thought was pretty cool, and a lot of kudos to it. And after the game, Max Domi and Austin Matthews stayed around to sign some stuff for the kids in the Arizona Pee Wee Hockey Leagues. So I thought that was really cool to touch on. Kudos on.
That's cool. I mean, not to rag on Arizona or anything, but their main exports are Heat and Austin Matthews. I mean, that's about all they have. So.
And crazy baseball jerseys too, right?
And Space Coyote.
Yes. So kind of looking at the overall consensus, because if you're not aware, of course, the league shuts down for 3 days. There won't be any games until Tuesday night. So kind of go over the entire Western Conference. So you have Chicago, Minnesota, St. Louis in the Central. The top three in there. We have San Jose, Edmonton, Anaheim in the Pacific. Leading in the Pacific there. The two wild cards are also from the Pacific in LA and Calgary, although Nashville, Dallas, and Winnipeg are all 3 points back of the wild card teams. Any surprises so far that you would expect, guys, from the Western Conference?
I mean, the biggest surprise is that Edmonton finally, after years and years and years of, this is the year they will actually do something. Edmonton has not. I mean, normally this time of year, Edmonton's already faded into the number one draft pick race, usually by just, they might have a hot October, but November usually comes around, kicks them in the teeth, and then by December, we're like, yep, same old Oilers. So, hey, the Oilers finally have taken a step forward. Not many other real surprises there. I mean, I thought Nashville would be better than they've been.
Yeah, me too.
That's probably the other big thing. Vancouver, I mean, yeah, no surprise there. Colorado has been absurdly bad. I don't know. Maybe I wasn't paying close enough attention. I didn't expect them to be this bad, but that's what I thought. I don't know, Ian.
Yeah, I didn't think that Colorado would be as bad as they are. I think Minnesota too. I think Minnesota is a surprise. I thought Minnesota would be okay. I certainly didn't think they'd be, second in the Central with a plus 36 goal differential. That's insane. So yeah, I think Minnesota's the big surprise to me. I thought they'd be more of a bubble wild card team at best, not a shoe-in at this point.
I'm curious to check out their PDO and see if they're off the chart or not. because it seems to be the way it often is with teams that surge unexpectedly. I don't know though.
Bruce Boudreaux, man.
Actually, now I look at it, yeah, they're number 2 in the league right now. Them and the Blue Jackets are number 1 and number 2. Not very surprising. So
and both have current winning streaks of over 10 games.
And after spending most of the beginning of the year at the very bottom, the Sharks are actually 12th now. They're still just below even on that, but they're close. So the Sharks have finally had their luck rebound, which figured it would. And I think they might end up actually even higher eventually. But yeah, when I talk about PDO, if anyone's not familiar, that's basically the way we measure luck in the league. So teams that are lucky tend to win more games.
Yeah, and put it
By the way,
this way,
Puckeye, we haven't seen your lovely face in a while. Just pointing out.
I didn't want to offend anybody. That's all.
It's too late.
I'm always offended.
No, well,
Ian
I
is
came on because I
perpetually
was offended.
oh, shut up, Ian.
Where'd Lindy go?
I don't know.
He was honestly that offended.
He was
Wow, I came on and then he's like, F it. Ian came on and owned me and I left.
I'm just
Dude, F it. This is not writer's room or any of that shit. You can say fuck it all you want.
I'm trying to be better.
Yeah, we're trying to be good. Trying to be in good graces, of course. In the East, wait, before I go to the East, I'm going to say the Sharks at plus 12 have the third best goal differential in the Western Conference. Chicago plus 16, Minnesota at plus 36. Well, when you go to the East...
Well, real quick on that, also, it should be pointed out, the Sharks among playoff teams have, I believe they have the lowest total goals for, too. They're tied with LA with the lowest goals for at 87 among all the playoff teams in the West, too. So that's also notable.
Very much so. In the East, well, speaking of goal differential, 4 teams in the playoff hunt already have over a plus 20 goal differential. Columbus at plus 45, Pittsburgh at plus 21, the Rangers at plus 30, Montreal at plus 28. You can even say Washington at plus 18 for that matter. Everybody else is either barely plus or they're minus horrifically.
That Columbus number is absurd. Like, yeah, they won 12 straight. That is holy shit.
I mean,
Washington too. If I can just chime in on Washington for a second, they're plus 18, but they only have 87 goals for.
Exactly.
Which is about the same. Actually, that's the same number the Sharks have.
I know, but you look at like some of these other teams though. It's like Columbus 110, Pittsburgh 121, Rangers 119, Montreal 104. Like Philadelphia even 110. They just can't keep the puck out of their own net as well.
Tampa Bay at 100.
Yeah.
And then you look in the West, and it's like Chicago 102, Minnesota 102. And remember, Minnesota's got 102 and has a plus 36 goal differential. Edmonton at 105. And then after that, everybody's under 100.
Here's another one too. Just looking through the list, like everyone says the Leafs are so bad this year. They just couldn't keep the puck out of their net earlier in the season. They've got 97 goals for. It's just that they couldn't make a save for like the first 3 weeks of the season.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But I mean, the East, obviously, we're all surprised by Columbus. We thought they would be better, but heck, let's be real here. After the World Cup and him scratching 2 of his own Blue Jackets from the Team USA lineup, didn't we think it was going to be a clusterfuck in Columbus? It just seemed like it. Now they've won 12 in a row. They're in first place. They're the first team to hit 50 points this season. And it's just unbelievable.
You know what? It is to a point. I think that you've had you've had that when everything was kind of going wrong. I mean, it's not like Columbus doesn't have players. That defense is really solidified, I think, with Seth Jones being there for a full season now. I think that's helped a lot having him from the get-go in camp. And then, for all the Tortorella took a lot of crap because of the World Cup. And now we're learning maybe Tortorella shouldn't take as much crap because of the World Cup instead of maybe the people that are above.
So you're saying that it's more the front office of USA Hockey than
Yeah,
it
I'm
is
saying it's
Tortorella,
the idiots that pick the teams.
for sure. Landy, are you still there, or?
And Bobrovsky's healthy. Yeah, that's another huge thing too. Kevin
Yeah, that's
Lacey
true.
bringing
And
up Bobrovsky, has been injured, just plagued with injuries year over year over year. So the fact that he's healthy, it's good.
Either Landy's holding a pose really well, or that's just his picture there.
That's his
I
picture.
think we're getting to the point where we probably should wrap up soon.
Yeah, we're that's where we're headed. Kind of mentioning this because our good friend Randall Hahn has set this up. This is a former Blue Coat, and I'll just kind of read this verbatim from what's set up here. If you attended any event at the SAP Center in the last 5 years, the chances you saw Ellen that night without even knowing. The Sharks fans that leave SAP walking towards downtown in Dallas can always count on seeing Ellen's bright smile post-game, win or lose, rain or shine. Unfortunately, Ellen is currently sleeps under the Highway 87 underpass. She is scheduled to have a surgical procedure on her neck this January. It's assumed that the neck is due to stress, sleeping in uncomfortable positions. After procedure, Ellen will thankfully be cared for by her 2 daughters. However, I think this great-spirited woman deserves some warmth and comfort during the holidays leading to the procedure. Whatever is donated, Randall will separate into different gift card values. Personally, we'd love to have enough donations to house her in a motel or some sort with food and some basic amenities. Randall personally has set up a GoFundMe page that I'm going to put in the chat right now. If by all means, feel free to make a donate. I guess I can't do that because
yeah, I won't let you post links, but probably check all our timelines on Twitter.
Yeah, we'll
check
post
Randall's
it on
timeline.
Yeah, we'll post it on Twitter after we go off the air with that. But by all means, help her out, and that'd be great for sure. Final thoughts here, and guys, I know this is the Christmas time of year, so we'll make it a little festive. Give us your gift. Well, I guess Landy won't because he can't talk. But
give him a gift of a new microphone.
Owned.
Oh wow.
Anyways, I'm sorry I derailed that one. Go ahead.
Well, Chris, there's Landy.
There he is.
Okay, so Ian, I'll give us your gift of a final thought.
My gift of a final thought?
Uh-huh.
I give you the gift of rage. Shall it be awesome? You guys need it. Team USA Hockey needs your rage. So I give you the gift of my rage.
Excellent.
And we won.
Chris, your gift of gab for us as we head into this break.
Well, without reiterating too many things I've already said, I think it's been a fun year. It's been a very fun year this year, and there'll be more thoughts before the end of the actual year. But while as crappy as this year has been in many respects, as a Sharks fan, this has been a phenomenal fucking year, and I'm excited about this team again this year, especially with all the depth. So, and tonight came through LeBanc with 2 goals and put us into the Christmas break on a great note. I mean, that ending was great. I'm probably gonna have to go watch that a few more times after I'm done here. But it's been a fun year with all you guys. I'm thankful for all of you. You're wonderful. Have a good night.
Absolutely. Mr. Landy, see what happens when you have laundry not hanging around, your mic goes to heck.
Yeah. I give you the gift of a clean room. You kind of had to
Nobody
change it up.
wants that though. Our Landy's got to have laundry.
No, I mean, in all honesty, probably give you the gift of unsung prospects. How about we say that?
Excellent. With that being said, make sure you hit up Pucknology.net. Make sure you subscribe down below or to the side. Also, if you don't like our faces, by all means, you can listen to these podcasts. Pucknologist came out yesterday, so you can listen to that on top of Pucknology Writers Room, which was kind of a mashup of Writers Room and After Dark this past weekend. Because darn it, the Sharks are playing on a Sunday. How dare they?
Jerks.
I know.
That's
you can find us.
day.
That's on.
And obviously, we're not on this Sunday. We'll be back on the 1st.
What? What am I going to do then?
I don't know. Spend time
Spend
with
time with family. I mean, come on now.
That's true. No, it's a crazy busy week. Christmas Eve tomorrow, or well, today for Ian. Sunday, Christmas, and then, well, Canada actually has a holiday for my birthday, so suckers. But nonetheless, whatever you can do, have a great one. Be safe out there. We all want you back here. Oh, one more thing. So I put up a poll today on Pucknology Twitter, and I'm kind of surprised by this, but actually fortunate. It was our Pucknology poll question, and let's see. My question was, should we have a Sharks tweet up this season? And I asked this mainly because of the huge turnout that Teal City Crew had for their night at the tank, which was absolutely unreal. And Kurt in all his doing, my goodness, you've done an absolute phenomenal job for that. Thank you to the 36 people who participated in the poll question. 44% said yes, 8% said no, 48% are trying to figure out what the heck is a tweet up, which is kind of concerning. Nonetheless, thank you for your votes. And a tweet up, for those who actually don't know, it's a gathering, it's a meetup of people through Twitter that you know of, get together, put the face to the Twitter handle, and so on and so forth. Usually fun. We usually do a big one once a year. The plan is/was to do it on social media night. If we do it, we'll give you details. It's going to be a crazy quick one, but we'll see what we go from there. But nonetheless, be safe out there. Have a great holiday, whether you celebrate Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, Boxing Day, driving a Zamboni through a Tim Hortons. I mean, unreal. So, I know, you're lucky bastards. So until then, for everybody here that's not even on here, have a great holiday season. We will see you back on Tuesday night when the Sharks take on the Ducks. Keep it real, keep it tight, keep it real tight, and happy holidays, everyone. Good night.
Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays or whatever.